Welcome back. You're watching World Talks, and I'm your host, Klaudia Czerwińska. Last day saw the lowest water levels in the Vistula River in Warsaw in history. The trend was also observed across the country. Is Poland facing a possible natural disaster? If this continues, what could be done to counter it? Marek Józefiak from Greenpeace Poland might have the answers to these questions. Thank you so much for joining to speak about this important subject.
Thank you for having me.
So, media reported that the Vistula River in Warsaw hit a record low level of about 8 centimeters. What does this mean, and how alarming is the situation, considering that we've had water shortages earlier this season?
Yeah, I mean, by now it's already at 6 centimeters today. So, I mean, it's record-breaking levels basically, every day. The situation is quite severe across the country. The south of Poland, the east of Poland, also parts of central and western Poland are suffering from hydrological drought. That means that it's not a normal drought, it's a prolonged drought over a longer period of time, which affects levels of waters in rivers, in lakes, and also in the ground. Mm-hmm. That is the situation that we're facing for years now. I mean, it's another year that we see that we're entering each year, even in spring, with drought. That is,
Why is the reason?
Well, the climate crisis. Climate change has already affected, patterns of weather in Poland. Let's remember, in general, the world is almost is warmer by 1.5%, by 1.5 Celsius, if we take into account that Poland, in general, Europe is warming faster than average, than world average, then we end up with what we're seeing right now. Mm-hmm. The weather patterns in Poland have changed. If you look at winters, we no longer have snow cover, and this is probably by far the most important impact factor that is causing the situation that we are right now. Vast majority of our country doesn't have. Has a snow cover, but much for a very short period of time. Even in this winter in particular was very bad when it comes to snow conditions. So this is something that is kind of amplifying each year. Let's remember, if we scroll back and go back to the 1980s. Back in the beginning of 1980s, we had drought every 5 years. Now we basically have a drought for 10 years straight. This is the situation that we are in right now at 1.5 Celsius degrees.
It's scary to think what's going to happen when the temperature is going to go up even more.
Yeah, luckily, the ball is still in our court, let's say. So it still depends on us and on our politicians what's going to happen in the future. It really depends on the actions that we take, how fast we transition away from coal, from gas, from oil. This will impact our future, and basically, all these trends that we're seeing, water supply shortages, problems in the agricultural sector, problems with, natural disasters like flood. I know it's kind of counterintuitive that we have drought, but at the same time, if it rains really badly,
and the soil is not prepared in order to be able to take on so much water.
Exactly. The dried up soil does not simply take in water as well as it used to when it's regular, when it rains regularly. So what we see also is the catastrophic flooding from September last year. Mm-hmm. I was in these areas this year in the summer. They are not ready to face another flooding. So, we can imagine what could happen if something like this happens again in a short period of time. That would be a much bigger disaster. So this is the reality of climate crisis that, the scientists have been warning us. Now we see it's not, about forecasts or, plans that we have for the future. It is here and now, so we need to act now, and let's hope that politicians will face this situation, will kind of face this situation as a current crisis that we need to face, and not kind of, some scientific forecast that, some believe and some not.
Beyond climate, what role does the human activity, such as, for example, river regulation, damming, or any sort of industry that we take a closer look at, play at worsening the situation?
I mean, if we look at what caused the situation, is obviously the climate crisis and climate change. But what's worsening, the things that you mentioned are definitely one of these. I mean, for many decades, we were trying to kind of manage water and get rid of it as soon as possible from our forests, from our from the fields. And right now we are facing a different problem. There is not enough water, and what we should be doing is kind of undo the damage that we've done over last centuries, because some of these the systems are dating back centuries. So even in Białowieża forest, our most natural, most pristine,
our primeval forest.
Yeah, I mean, even
an
this
absolute
forest
treasure
is drained
on the European and world scale as well.
Yeah. And the scientists are saying even there, the drainage system is very much widespread. So even there, we're draining water out of this forest, and even there, there is a drought. Obviously, it's not as severe as in other parts because it's a natural forest. I mean, if you think about dead wood, I mean, there is a lot of dead wood in Białowieża forest, and if you've got a log of a dead tree that is a couple of 100 years old, it is very thick, and it kind of works as a natural
humidifier.
Yeah,
sorts.
natural humidifier. I mean, it can be twice as heavy as a normal log because it just simply
because of the amount of water. I actually remember taking a trip to Białowieża and our lovely tour guide showing us that there was a piece of wood that you could literally just squeeze like a sponge with all the water coming out of it.
It does work like that, and what we should be doing is kind of trying to work hand in hand with nature. I mean, taking a step back in these places like, Bieszczady Mountains, Carpathian mountain range, where it's not economically viable to cut trees to do logging, we should basically, leave it to itself, and this will work as a kind of natural system which will defend us from floods and which will help eventually, help with the drought. Also, the farmers are trying to kind of recreate the old traditional patterns of working with water in parts
which is very encouraging to hear that the farmers are trying to take that action.
It's really, I mean, it works magic that kind of, for instance, replanting alleys in the fields is kind of helping them to stop erosion. They're trying to kind of block the drainage systems, the ditches that are surrounding their fields. The water is slowly coming back to their
water
fields.
Retention.
So it's these are examples that we actually can undo this harm and try to simply act hand in hand with nature.
So this is the approach that us as the civil society should be taking, but you also mentioned the political spectrum of undoing the last century or perhaps a century and a half of work that's been done eroding the natural ecosystem. What would the politicians have to do? I mean, considering everything that's happening in Europe as of now, what would they have to do? What steps would they have to take in order to be able to protect the climate?
Well, they need to act up. That's as simple as it is. I mean, the current government of Prime Minister Donald Tusk has promised really a lot. I mean, on one side, they promised to really, speed up the energy transition. I know we all probably have heard about the problems with wind energy, that it's underdeveloped, and right now the wind law was vetoed by the new president, Karol Nawrocki. It is a major setback. We definitely need to speed up our energy.
So clean
transition.
energy.
I mean, this is how we replace coal. Right now, coal still produces around half of our electricity production, and this is basically the easiest way to go down from the high emissions of CO2 that we have right now in Poland. We are one of the most intense CO2 intense economies in the world. That means that in order to produce $1 in our GDP or €1, we need to emit, almost the most, right? So we simply use a lot of coal, we use a lot of gas, we use a lot of oil. So these are the things that we need to do. We need to speed up our energy transition, and also they need to act up on protecting on environmental protection. They promised, for instance, that 20% of Polish forests, those most pristine ones, will be safe from logging. They haven't acted on this. Right now, it's at 0.2%. The new nature reserves that have been created since 2023, that is it's basically 1% of what they promised, right? So it's these actions of reforming state forests, Lasy Państwowe, which kind of guards and controls almost 80% of Polish forests. This needs to be sped up. We've got a new director stepping in this month. So these are the things that we need to, in order to kind of preserve water in the land.
In the spectrum of things, how much time is short enough or long or too long? What spectrum are we looking at? How much time do you think they should take in order to speed it up?
Well, scientists have been telling us this for years. The most critical years are, the most important days today when it comes to climate action. There should have been things that, there's the Chinese saying that, the best probably moment to do something good was 20 years ago, but then to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best is today. I'm not in favor of planting trees. We should be actually trying to protect what we have. This is the most important thing.
You're not in
right
favor
now.
of planting trees.
It is better to actually let the nature do the work for itself. It is better for climate action, actually climate resilience of forests. The science proves this, that if we let the forests to kind of recreate themselves, those trees are better prepared for droughts. They're better prepared for the world that we live in right now. So that's what I'm saying. I know it's counterintuitive and it may sound scandalous, but yeah, we should be protecting what we have right now. And generally speaking, they should really speed things up, because these next couple of years are the most critical for climate action.
So the nature would actually heal itself. And as my final question, because I know that our time is coming to an end, in a very short sentence, what us as each and every individual can do today to change the situation and to make it better?
I believe, obviously not all of us are activists. I don't expect anyone to become a climate activist, but we can
just at home.
Just at home. I would say, focus on one or two things that may actually change a lot. For instance, take a subsidy for, exchanging coal furnace or improving your thermal insulation of your house. For instance, these are things that actually can change a lot. And then, I would say, but the most important thing is simply vote for people who are really responsible and who are taking these things seriously, and talk to your family and friends. I really believe, back in 2017 we had this amazing, I would say, social revolution around smog and around clean air. And this happened, and all these things that I'm saying, there is a subsidy for replacing coal furnace because we really talked about it. You entered a bus, you heard people speaking about smog. So I really believe in power of words. If we really, if politicians understand that these things matter to people, change will come.
And unfortunately, we will have to put a full stop in there. Thank you so much. Marek Józefiak, spokesperson for Greenpeace Poland, was my guest. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so this would be all for now. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in just a moment for more news and features.